Thank you for returning to Mastering Counseling. It's so great to have you on here where we talk to so many different therapists and counselors. Today, I'm super excited to welcome Jacylin Fortier, who is founded the Carolina Counseling Wellness Associates. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you, Becky, for having me. I appreciate it. Excited to talk with you today.
Yes, she has been working in this community since 2008 and especially focusing on PTSD and especially with domestic violence survivors, which is a really difficult thing to manage. So we look forward to your expertise in that and passion for it. And also, it sounds like you've been working in doing some clinical supervising as well.
Yes, and I've merged into being a clinical director, which we can talk about what that means as far as clinical supervision. And yeah, I have two clinics that I am the director for and founded, and I've been getting into entrepreneurship, but I'll start with a little bit of the beginnings. And I worked in nonprofits after graduate school. I'm being a single mom myself, going through my own adversity. So really learning as I grew in my profession how to take really good care of myself, and got really passionate with empowerment. And empowerment for us in our field means I am in charge of me. I'm in charge of solving my problems. I'm in charge of connection building, and really kind of getting out of my own way sometimes. Lots of insecurities when I was younger that we speak about in some of the other speakings that I talk about. Phobia of math, a phobia of public speaking, which I've worked on conquering, and teaching others that as well. So I've become more of like an education type in the mental health field of how to get out of our own ways and empowerment. And I started with domestic violence. I worked in a nonprofit and was the clinical supervisor at the shelter. And we helped hundreds of women and children who were in imminent danger. And I got a lot of passion for our field during that time, and then got into private practices after that, and really saw a gap in the market for the middle level mental health crisis. We have urgent suicidal prevention, hospitalization, and then we had solo practices and that was really the spectrum that I saw. So I got this call to say, I want to increase access. I want to increase working on ending mental health stigma through people wanting to come in our center. And I wanted to create a center. So I created our first center in Apex, North Carolina in 2016. And the entrepreneurial part of me got into real estate investment. So I bought the building, which was a unique little niche in our field, and I renovated it. I loved HGTV and renovations, so I got into the sparkle in me wanted to make it pretty and make it beautiful, so that way the people that were coming in felt the sense of welcoming and ease, which really dubbed us as ending mental health stigma through approachable access and care. And then now I have another one. So a couple years ago, right after the pandemic, we obviously everybody saw a huge increase in conversation around mental health and also need for care. I had my phone was ringing. I had over 100 people on my caseload, and I started hiring people. That's when I became a director and said, I need people to help me. This is too much for me.
Sure.
And then I got a second practice last year over in High Point, North Carolina, and did the same thing. I purchased the building. We have longevity there, so in our community, we're known because we don't have to move every time our lease gets up, which really gives that access to care point that I wanted for our community and mental health. Yeah.
Wow, very exciting. So many different things that and the passion that I can hear. Yeah, the stories going back to the domestic violence of kids and women, it does cause you to move and do, right? Which I think is what you did, and providing a place for people to share. So that's so great that you did that. Just to clarify, so currently the Carolina Counseling Wellness, that's your most latest practice. different from what you started in 2008 or a few years after?
2016 is when Carolina
Okay.
Counseling was founded. Yes, I began being a
Gotcha.
counselor in 2008 is when I graduated graduate school down in Jacksonville, Florida, and began my nonprofits, my clinic work, my really experience getting towards my
Hmm.
license in mental health counseling, which we all know that anyone who's got a license in mental health counseling or therapy, social work, it takes a long time. It takes a
Hmm.
bit to get all those hours. I think by the time I passed my national board exam, I had over 8,000 clinical hours
Oh,
that I had
wow.
been working on. And
Yeah.
yes, so lots of experience but I'm grateful. It was hard experience, yet it was really needed for me to be able to run the clinics that I have now. So I'm able to handle crisis when my team has a hard time. We
Yeah.
kind of know what to do. We've built a lot of resources for them through the experiences and me working in crisis centers and nonprofit settings.
Yeah. Yeah, that I love how you faced it all yourself and then we're like, okay, now we need help and these are the people I need. Why don't you talk to us about like how the practice looks as far as how many people are part of your team? Do they have different specialties? Are they all, I know, that are you still focusing mainly on domestic violence support or have you branched out a little bit more? Tell us about how the team looks now in 2024.
That's a great question. And we've been moving and grooving and changing as we grow, I say, and adapting. And my specialization when I do see clients, I still see a smaller caseload right now, but I do love working with women and men in domestic violence prevention. I'm really on the prevention side, teaching emotional regulation skills, teaching anger management, connection, and also people who might have been victims of abusive relationships after. And really in that prevention, I work with a lot of liaisons in our counties here if people are in active danger as well. And I'm a team advisor for our team if any of the other people on our team have clients with those special concerns. We have what I developed was a collaborative model. So each of my centers has around 4 office spaces, and they are able to either rent space. So it's a collaborative model of if someone didn't know where to put their own practice and they wanted to rent space, and that's really how we began. And then during the pandemic, I branched off and got group contracts with insurance companies and learned how to be able to offer associate level positions for specialists to join us and have their own specialization under our contracts. So that's been our model. We have around 11 people total right now, and we're growing. So I'm hiring another one this week because the phone keeps ringing. I've
Wow.
learned,
Wow.
and I really do adapt as we grow. I have an assistant intake coordinator specialist that works with our team through Productive Therapists, which is an amazing company that's helped my company grow. So I do
Hmm.
believe in partnerships, and that model of partnership is in our collaboration. So we have a little bit of a unique practice because we're not a very large group practice, although we are growing, intentionally growing. I don't want us to be too large to where we can't give quality care. And
Hmm.
that's one of our ending mental health stigmas on all my logos and all my shirts and all the things that we have, because part of ending mental health stigma is making sure that the people that come in are treated with 5-star care
Hmm.
and they're treated with that personal ability. And our clinicians that work with our practice at Carolina are treated like partners from the start.
Okay.
There's no hierarchy, and I call myself that partner leader. I'm a
Mhm.
demonstrator. I'm authentic in our leadership. There's an open door policy, and our nervous systems are all regulated. And I tell them that when they interview for the position, that this is something where I want you to be able to have a cup of tea on your break. And we have a therapy dog named Molly in our
Aw.
Apex Center, and chocolates and the waiting room and a fountain with music. And it just feels relaxing there. So the people that come in are really treated, whether you're working with us or being served by our team, you feel cared for and comfortable.
Yeah, I love that. It's like 5 stars. And with the intensity, I mean, who am I to rank what level people's problems are from, least to greatest? But I feel like in this, we're dealing with result of crime, right? And so just to give people that extra special touch, I think is so special that you can do that. So, and very cool that you guys have your shirts. Let me just see. I think
Yeah.
you might be the first
Yeah.
one, who
Yeah.
has. Yeah, that's awesome. Very
We have
nice.
quotes on the back too as well. It say we're stronger together, dream big, find your voice, and seek the path of least regret, which is some of our concepts that we speak about at Carolina
Yeah.
Counseling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all very exciting things. One thing that kind of came to mind to me, is because of the nature, if people are dealing with anxieties or depression, no one's, I mean, someone may have committed a crime, but it's very possible it's just an internal thing. What you're dealing with is bigger, where someone has been hurt. Do you find, and you've said the word collaboration a lot, but do you find that you are interacting with the police or in public health and safety more so than maybe other practices? Or it's just a question that
That's a
kind of
great
came to
question.
me.
That's a great question, Becky. Not really. Honestly, we do have resources for that. But my team, we see a lot of adolescents right now. We see a lot of parenting struggles. We see a lot of relationship concerns. We don't really have a lot of dangerous circumstances there, although we are ready if we did. And that's a great question. And each county in the entire state of North Carolina, and also probably nationally, has a domestic violence protocol. And I know that one for both of the counties that both of my centers are in. So we're able to work with them if we ever did have an active danger. And also suicidal ideation, suicidal with a plan. We have had to call the hospital for support, and we have a liaison for the mobile crisis unit, and also the police department is really the connector of anything that we might not be able to handle. And I know a couple people over there that we could call if we needed to. So it's just really being
Yeah,
able to connect with the community that we're in to be able to make sure that we're able to navigate crisis if they occurred.
right. Right. Okay. Yeah. Good to know. Yeah. I know in Michigan, I just find if I'm in public restrooms, there's the domestic violence hotlines and protocols and things, which is
Yeah.
very helpful for sure. Um, let's talk a little bit about maybe some of the types of therapy that your practice provides, that you feel is maybe a special fit with the clients that you help.
That's a great question too. Off the top of my head, we have two EMDR therapists right now that are specialists in EMDR, and I see this as really kind of almost breaking some of that mental health stigma. A lot of people think that mental health care and therapy is just you sitting on a couch talking about your feelings and then getting some interventions and leaving. But we're getting deeper in this. We're really getting into like the brain, the nervous system,
Mhm.
neuroplasticity, and I love EMDR for that focus because it really does expand and get into some processing of traumas that you don't even really have to try. The equipment that is given in the professional that helps you work through really does a lot of clearing of those emotional limitations that you might not be able to do through talk therapy. Although we do have talk therapy, we have cognitive behavioral specialists, we have a parenting coach on team, Holly Moore, and she's amazing with doing like postpartum depression, anxiety, and also how to manage being a mother, which is very can be challenging without support.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I have another provider who does work with polycystic ovary issues and feminine
Oh,
issues as far as like fertility. Rebecca Clark,
okay.
and she's a specialist in that. And I have a couple of really great counselors that work with college students with suicide prevention, and that's been something that is really interesting to me when I'm interviewing. What I'm really doing for Carolina is trying to get a matched team of specialists that have like one person sees couples, person really specializes in adolescents. I just hired a new team member who works in the schools during the week and is with us on the weekend working with
Mm,
younger children and also
okay.
parents of
Yeah.
younger children, like as a parent support, which I find is
Hmm.
super important to have
Hmm.
that. So yeah, we have a
Yeah.
mixed array of really amazing specialists that work with Carolina Counseling.
Right. Um, yeah. lately I feel like there's been so much of the biological aspect and brain that, we've had a few people on here who use a lot of EMDR and just so much of the body, even nutrition, the holistic approach. So
Yeah.
that's cool, the team that you brought together. I feel like every day your life is exciting with lots of interviews, or you still
Yeah.
see a few people, which is really cool. Um, Let's talk. You mentioned this a little bit, but that you have gone a lot into a teaching mode and training people up and also trying to erase the stigma of mental health. So, I guess talk to us about, I know you're doing podcasts, but are you speaking in colleges or um, I can't even think of the word right now, but like special trainings, what does that look like for you?
Right now I'm working on a national collaborative project that is really just speaking more about mental health. So writing articles and contributing to other people's websites, and just really like what we're doing today, just having interviews and speaking in 2024 about ending mental health stigma overall, and also how, looking at mental health in a different lens. I feel over the 15 years that I've been a therapist in this field, there's been such a exciting change. I really am passionate about seeing it from the spectrum of where I started. And I remember when I started with my counseling career, a lot of people didn't want to talk about it. I would go out to a dinner or
Mm,
something. What do you do for a living? I don't want to talk about this. This is, and now it's such a different thing 15 years later. People are like, wow, that's fascinating. And we're treated like medical providers, and we are medical providers. We have a medical license to provide medical care. And that's why we get billed through insurance now. And
hmm
20 years ago, we couldn't do that.
right.
We weren't recognized as that. So I love giving education and speaking about the growth in our field overall, not just what I'm doing at Carolina, but also the amazing things that mental health, the field and the profession of mental health
hmm
has grown in such a great time. It's a really, I call it the golden ticket of what we need in our world right now, is for us to be able to take care of our mental health. And it doesn't even have to be a problem. It's just like taking care of your body, and
hmm
also taking care of your body is part of taking care of your mental health. Is it
hmm
taking a walk? I know for me, I've had to learn my unique formula of what my human body needs every day. Enough
hmm
water, enough sunshine, vitamin D, exercise, movement, fun, connections with others. Like that's all part of taking care of your mental health. It's not even just about going to therapy. It's things that you can do every single day and keep learning new things about yourself and learning how to take care of your brain, because your brain is what
hmm
mental health is all about.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah. Do you get to, some of our listeners are people considering going into this field, or they are starting out like you would have been in 2008? What are some, you mentioned how it has shifted, thankfully, that people are even more willing to talk about it, but what would just be some advice for them or things you would love for them to know? Like if you knew they were coming to your practice to work in maybe 5 years, what would be some things you'd want them to hear from you?
This is a great time to become a mental health counselor, whether a social worker, whether a mental health, those are just really different degree tracks. But working towards getting your license, when you get a license in mental health care, you're basically a physician's assistant. You can work on your own without supervision, and you can create your own job. What an amazing thing to be able
Mhm,
to develop your own passions and career and make money while you're helping people, and also living a lifestyle for yourself that feels authentic and vibrant. So it's a
mhm.
great field. Obviously, I'm passionate about it, but I feel like
Right.
anybody considering becoming a mental health counselor, and it's not short for clients. I have over 17 intakes last week, and I had to send away 15 because my practice is full. And so it's a booming field. It looks like almost like a medical field as far as if you're becoming a nurse or a doctor. So yeah,
Mhm,
it's hard. It's not easy field to get into. The national counseling exam has, I think, a
mhm,
60% failure rate. And if you fail it the first time, you get stuck in your head, and it can be
mhm.
really hard to pass the second time. So study and
Right.
believe in yourself, figure out your why. Why do you want to be in this field? I think is a huge question that I mentor people about. I didn't do it for the money. I did it to help people. And, 15 years ago, honestly, our field didn't make very much money. So it was an easy thing to get into. But that's changing. With insurance, it's really changing. You're able to contract with insurance with that full license and experience, and you're getting paid to help people in a profession that's growing, and it's here to stay. I don't see it changing. I think it's going to keep growing and
Yeah,
evolving and helping the problems that we have in our world.
for sure. We sometimes like to focus a little bit on the business side of things. So often insurance situations
Mm-hmm.
are complicated both on the client end but let's talk about how you've been able to manage that with either other employees or yourself, because it seems
Yeah.
like a big part of your practice.
It is. We take insurance. I'm contracted with 5 major insurance companies right now. And I learned, ask. I would call the insurance company when I was beginning, and I would make friends with the lady on the phone. I'd be like, "Hi, I'm here again. Can you teach me? Can you teach me how to get this contract?" And I started small. I started with just one contract with Blue Cross Blue Shield. And I remember my first practice was in Maryland, and it was my practice, I call it. I was learning, I was practicing, and get
Yeah.
out of the fear mindset, get out of I'm going to help people with this. So learning, I got a record system that's electronic. I learned how to do technology, which was part of my adversity when I was in my younger years, and math and technology were not my strong suit. And
We are
now
the
I have a
same in that for sure.
now I have a studio, and I do recordings, and I'm doing my taxes this week and doing profit and loss statements on numbers and reports. And start small is my suggestion. Get your confidence and believe in yourself. And therapists can run businesses. We can. And there's other people that can help. I coach people, and I have a part-time position where I really coach and mentor people wanting to go into their own practice and not knowing how to start. And working with insurance companies, at least one or two, is really great for the access of care for our clients.
Right.
Would you want to see a doctor who didn't take insurance?
Right.
It'd be hard. So I do know insurance is tricky, but it is really viable for our clients to be able to use their benefits for their own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like what you said about you just started small and made
Mhm.
friends with the person at Blue Cross and got someone to help you, right? It's like just being nice can really go a long way, right?
Yeah.
Even the hardest thing, if you're nice about it, a lot of times people will go the extra mile, because they'd rather stay on the phone with you, right, than take the next angry
Yeah.
call.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, one thing we didn't you've talked about like the focus of community and everything, but I know a large part of your website and theme is mission driven counseling. So
Mhm.
maybe as we kind of close out a little bit, just talk about that and anything else that you really want us to hear on here. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. When I say the word mission, it feels like my mission is ending mental health stigma, increasing access to care, and doing that community connection. I love helping the community of mental health and also the community around us, like connecting people to great resources. I research. I call myself a community researcher and a community connector, and I'm always looking for amazing places that my clients can go to take care of themselves, either it be hiking trails, yoga studios, workshops with other women and moms and men, that want to connect, and not just in our counseling there. So I'm all over the community all the time, and have an Instagram that I post all my little adventures on, and really working on connecting the community and making it fun. I think that's the hardest thing, that people think mental health counseling is like, ugh, and we're working on that really hard. I'm like, no, this is fun. And you don't have to go to counseling to take care of your mental health. It's great if you do, but you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to. And that's one of the stigmas that we talk about, busting.
Yeah.
A lot of things like the model that you can run a business in mental health counseling is it's a medical field. So just anyone who's considering getting into this field, treat it as that. You're representing a really growing need for quality care and access. And there's also so many ways that you can contribute. It doesn't have to be just being a counselor. It can be just being a connecting type person and helping people as needed.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome about all the community ideas and different trails, and it's just the way we are now, right? You see things on social media and you're like, oh, that's a good idea, or I didn't know about that place or that restaurant or that yoga studio, and it's our new yellow pages. So
Yeah.
yeah, very cool. Anything that you feel that we missed or we didn't get to hear about you today that you wanted to share?
Sounds great. I really enjoyed talking with you. I feel like we went over a lot. And to the listeners, thank you for listening. It's been fun. Happy to chat again anytime you need. It's great.
Yeah. Well, Jaclyn, thanks so much for your time. I totally feel your passion through the screen of what you're doing for each, I would say, each individual client, and then the community as a whole, and then even nationally with this whole landscape of mental health. Thanks for all you're doing and for joining us today. And I, as well, to our listeners, thank you that you are interacting. Please send us questions, comments on things you'd like to hear more about, and just have a great day. For now, we are tuning out on Mastering Counseling. Hope to see you soon.